Good morning, Florida Realtors. How's everybody? Woohoo! You making magic? How many of you had fun last night at Party at the Moon? And I'm impressed you're here, so good job.
Seriously, right?
Yeah. So, my name is Marilyn Pearson Adams, and I am one of your education ambassadors, and I have the distinct honor and privilege this morning of presenting to you our awesome presenters. So, Monica Neubauer is a nationally recognized speaker and the host for the Center of Realtor Development podcast with NAR. She has been an agent in Franklin, Tennessee since 2002 and has sold dozens of buyers a brand new home. Given the choice, she would sell buyers new construction every time. She has built 2 houses herself. Please help me welcome Monica.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you.
There are handouts coming, so for those of you that didn't get them, as soon as they get in the room, I will pass them out to you. Take it away.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, when you guys meet with a buyer client and you have that first consultation with them, how many of you talk about new construction right off the bat? All right, about 20% of you, 30% of you, I say awesome, because that's when we need to start talking to them. How many of you have lost a sale because your buyer drove around on Saturday and met an on-site agent and left you at the curb? Yes, so we know how that goes as well. You know, the best chance to not have your buyer leave you at the curb is to talk to them yourself right off the bat and take them there yourself. So, I want you to start at the very beginning, because when you're working with a buyer, we talk about resales. That's the obvious one. It's what's in the MLS, it's houses for sale, boom, resales. What else do we talk about as far as inventory with our buyers when we get started? Price. That is an excellent answer. However, I'm looking for other opportunities of where they can find inventory. So thank you, Maureen. I did not clarify that well enough. Yes? A FSBO. Absolutely right. There you go. And okay, let me ask you guys something. Do you like to sell FSBOs to your buyers? No. Anyone? Okay, let me ask you another question. Do you guys have an insane seller's market like some of the other parts of the country? A seller's market, their houses are selling real quick, inventory depletion, that kind of thing going on? Yeah. The for sales by owner that I have sold in the last year, 2. No multiple offers, no problem. I will sell you a for sale by owner every day of the week rather than get in that multiple offer thing. I've sold, of the houses I've sold in the last year, the majority have been for sale by owners in new construction. If I do not have to go there in a seller's market, happy. Okay? So, I want to move on to these. That is not how I feel with them. Now, I know sometimes there's anguish. Sitting in a for sale by owner's kitchen with an offer from my client, gets a call while I'm sitting there presenting to them, and tells the agent, no, we're working out a contract right now. Thank you very much. No. Boom. They don't even say, yeah, bring me an offer. Let's create a bidding war. I'm sitting there with a good offer. They're happy. Okay, so I just want to enlarge your idea there of other inventory on the market. It's not just resales. It's not just multiple offers. So, for sale by owners or next door offered properties, you know, the things that you just kind of find laying around when you get online, you know, things people put out there. And here's the other one. New construction. So I love this 3-pronged approach when you meet with buyers to say, yes, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I can sell you resales, I can sell you for sale by owners, and I can sell you new construction. I am a full service buyer's agent. Because when we're buyer's agents, we really are consultants, helping them find the best property. So we need to tap all the resources, right? And so that's, you know, if you're not already thinking that way, I want you to start thinking that way. Present all of it at the beginning. Because the new construction, I don't want you sitting at the curb. I want you going all the way to the end and having a great transaction and a happy client and a check. About that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. My husband and I, we did something crazy that I won't get into, but, we took some time off and rented the house. Oh, and by the way, if you take time off from real estate, yes, you'll lose business, but most people won't even know you took a break. As long as you don't broadcast it on Facebook for 6 months that you took a sabbatical, okay? Don't do that, but most people won't know you left, okay? That's just a little side thing. All right, so we might have done something crazy like that. And I do try not to total up how much business I know I lost during that time period. But anyway, we let that go. So, we rented our house, and our tenants wanted to buy it. And it's been our experience that when we have a major life change, a house sale seems to go with it. So, now that the tenants were in it, we kind of had a hunch we wouldn't be moving back into it anyway, sold it to the tenants, and then decided we would stay in Franklin, Tennessee, where I live, and have lived for quite some time. So, it's home, and we decided we'd stay there. So now we're going to go back house searching again. Oh boy, oh boy. And he and I were not the greatest buyers, I'm here to tell you. My husband has some health issues, and so he has been gradually moving on from the concept of being an organic gardener. Okay? But, it's kind of painful. When you let your dreams go, it's a little bit painful. So his attempt to kind of keep his dreams a little bit intact was about buying land. I don't know about you guys. I have a hunch it's the same. When you buy land in Franklin, Tennessee, tell me how you guys are. When you buy land in Florida, what kind of houses do you get if you get a little bit of land? And I'm just talking about like a half acre to 2 acres, not a big. What else is about the house?
You get ranch style, CBS.
Old? Very old. What did you say?
Ranch style, predominantly, and
older styles.
concrete blocks a lot of the time.
Yeah. So you get old houses and older styles. And there's one other thing you might find if you get a house with land. It might be new, but then it's going to be expensive. Exactly right. And that's what we see in our community as well. So in order for us to get a little bit of land, we were looking at old houses. And I stood on the back porch with my husband. And I think he was not having a great day that day. He has some back problems. That's kind of what he deals with. And I said, now, honey, you know I don't do yards, right? It was green and green for 1.5 acres. I said, now, you know I don't do yards. And you know you don't let me do houses, right? I don't paint. I don't know. He's a little scared of me to do those things. So, you're kind of on your own with this yard and this house. And he said, did you say there was some new construction neighborhoods we should go look at? And that's how it slipped on a dime for us. We had not even really looked at new construction. I think I was a very difficult buyer. I was glad I didn't have an agent, even though sometimes I wished I would have to kind of help me think through this a little better. We turned on a dime. We were all about land and older houses and working on it a little bit. And we just said, no, it's too much. I'm going to talk about the benefits of new construction here in a minute. But we moved over and bought new construction. And we had to wait 8 months for that house to be done. But that was okay. Because at that point, I knew when I was moving, our rental condo had become available, so I moved in there. So I had my short-term housing set up. I was set. I wasn't in a hurry. And now I knew I was going to have a house. It was going to be 8 months, but I was going to have a house, and it was going to be new. And it just gave tremendous peace. And I see that with a lot of my buyer clients. They start looking at these resales. They get in a frenzy. They do multiple offers. It gets crazy. They don't get a house. They're stressed. They've got, lease release deadlines. And then we look at new construction, and now they can make a plan. It may be 2 months, 3 months, 5, 6 months, 8 months. But now they have a plan. And you can just see this peace come over them as they make their decision and sit in their peace. So that was our situation, and we were very glad. And so that house is actually across the street from mine. It is not my house. But we, so we moved in this neighborhood. We got a great lot with a great view, and I do this. I have such a great view off the back of my deck. I sit up on a hill, so I do little Instagram post view from my deck. So I ended up with an amazing thing and an amazing view because I took the time to consider what I wanted. And you can be that guide to ask those good questions for your buyer to help them make the right decision. All right, let me give you some tips. My goal today is for you to walk out of here having some idea of how to express the value that you bring to the buyer. Because just like in every kind of real estate right now, we've got to express our value. They can find the houses online, right? They can drive around, find the new construction houses. You know, on one level, they're finding the houses by themselves. Again, I pride myself, though, those new construction houses that I'm finding and those FSBOs, who's finding them? Boom, some of them are off-market. I love off-market properties. Okay, let's take a look here. When you're in a seller's market, the builders are building, building, building. How many of you have crazy building going on in your community right now? Okay, everybody almost, and so are we. This is like mushrooms sprouting up in this new part of town. People drive down who hadn't been down there in 3 or 4 years, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's like 1,200 homes. I don't know, they opened up this part as part of the city now, the road opened up, and now all of a sudden, you know, so this is a hot new construction area, and in a seller's market, they are selling like this. Are buyers getting deals when they go into these communities? No, they're not getting deals. But they're still getting a lot of other benefits. So just know that you're not going to be negotiating a lot in new construction in a seller's market. But don't hear me say there's no opportunities for a deal. Okay? Because sometimes there are opportunities for a deal. You can still get some things thrown in, a little upgrade. Let me tell you this. Builders do not like price reductions. Why not? It lowers their comps, absolutely right. They want to keep their comps strong, so if you are going to get anything extra for your buyer, it's going to be some closing cost incentive money or some upgrades or something. So that's what you need to ask for, and you should always ask, even in the seller's market, see what little bit more you can get for your folks. And then if they say no, they say no, you know. And some of these builders agents, have y'all ever seen some of these builders agents will say, now, you know, if you asked me, you might be able to get that tub changed, no problem. A few of them will drop hints. Pick up the hints. So, when the clue phone rings, answer it. Listen to those things they tell you, because they're salespeople and sometimes they make promises, don't they? Oh yeah. And most of the time they'll be good on them. We won't talk about every one. But anyway, so that's the seller's market. And here's the buyer's market is incentive, incentive, incentive. We'll pay your closing costs. We'll give you $10,000 outdoor fireplace, blah, 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 blah. All kinds of stuff they want to give you. They also are less excited about you being around in a buyer's market. All right, I'm just going to cut to the chase with that. In a seller's market, the vast majority of builders, they're glad to pay you, bring your buyers, boom, there's money. Okay? There's money to be had. So bring your buyers, they'll pay you. In a buyer's market, you know, and my brother used to work for a well-known builder who is very well-known for paying realtors and paying them well. And I asked him during the down market, and I said, give me the real scoop. What happens when, you know, somebody comes in without an agent now? He's like, Monica, I am at bare bones margins here. If somebody comes in without an agent, I can give them a little better price. And sometimes I have to do that. So just know, we are a bottom line item for the builders. And so we don't, you know, we want to work with them who wants to work with us, and most of them want to work with you, but guess what? They want you to show up and be engaged. If they're going to pay you to work, they want you to be engaged. All right? And we're going to talk about some more details in a minute, what you can do to be engaged and be helpful, because we want to be a team member with them. All right. Let's take a look at the benefits. What do you guys think are the benefits? New construction. New. Boom. Shiny objects. A warranty. Yes. No inspection period. No renegotiating. Yeah, exactly right. So, new warranty.
Bank appraisers.
No, what?
Bank appraisers.
The bank appraisers.
They come too?
Oh, yeah, they come too. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's got to appraise. And guess what? So, it's got to appraise. And as long as your buyers don't get crazy, it'll appraise. But if your buyers get crazy, you can over-upgrade it for the market. And when you do that, they've gotten a little crazy, and the appraisers can't help you. If it's like $30,000 over everything else that's sold in the neighborhood in the last 6 months, the appraiser cannot do anything about that. It's pretty cut and dry. So, yes, they're around. All right, what else? Benefits.
Energy efficient.
Energy efficient, absolutely. That's on my list. Yes. They get to choose their own finishes, and they like that. Do they get crazy there sometimes too? Oh yeah, that's where we can bring value to. We'll talk about that. All right, so they have choices. And planning, like I said, I knew 8 months, boom. I knew when I was going to move in. Again, those move a little bit, so you can plan sorta, but you know, usually they're pretty good within a couple of weeks, one way or the other. Oh, the computer's talking to me. Oh, get my batteries running low. This could be a problem. You know what? It's plugged in. It's plugged in. Hold on. Give me 10 seconds here to be technologically genius. That looks like the battery. Hold on. My PowerPoint's not that great, but you know, you might like it. So I'm going to try. No, this one goes under, and no, it's not.
That thing is not plugged in. It's on the floor. That's not plugged in. Your laptop.
That doesn't need to be plugged in. So there is. Okay. Guess what's going to happen? The battery's going to run out. But you know what? We'll work with it. You guys have a good handout. I am not concerned with this. Okay, timing. Energy efficient. Okay, overview of the types of builders. Now, there's lots of builders, lots of things going on here. So, tract homes. Tract homes, and y'all might use some different terms, so you can tell me if you've got a different term for it. But I kind of think of this in a spectrum. You've got your tract home builders. We have this one builder, and I love them. I've sold a bunch of their houses, Old South. You go in there, and when you buy their houses, you get to make like 7 selections. That's it. Your floor color, your paint color, maybe your linoleum or granite, and that's it. That's it. So easy, not too many choices. Boom. They crank them out. They've even started now not giving anybody a choice. They say, come and see us when the house is 2 months in and then you can buy it. So that's been frustrating. Hello? Yes? You want to buy new construction? Come on over. Let's sell your house. All right. So tract homes. And so some of those are ready for you early on. And then you move over to the spec homes. And some of those are still just tract homes. You know, sometimes they're very, you know, this is your limited selection. But when you're working with spec homes, it gets a little bit more. Maybe you can customize it more. Some of the bigger builders will let you do a few more customizations. And, by the way, you need to do structural customizations at contract. And that means floor plan changes. Sometimes they even want to know flooring at contract, but that kind of, you know, it depends on the builder. Structural purchases all need to go at time of contract. Don't wait. Well, you can't wait. They won't let you wait. So I had one couple, and they bought every structural upgrade they could, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to get crazy. They're going to be one of those people, oh yeah, they're paying cash. I don't care if they get crazy, right? Because they don't have an appraiser. Hey! I'm glad you're here. All right. So that's kind of with spec homes. You get a little bit more custom, and then you get all the way over into custom homes. How many of you have helped a buyer with a custom home? And how long did it take from beginning to end before they moved in? Forever. 9 months. Ooh, that's quick. A year and a half. I've got a tenant moved in a rental property that I have, and he moved in. He says, oh, we're going to build. I said, you're going to build in Williamson County? And he said, yeah. And we said, do you have a piece of land already? And he said, no. And I said to my husband, I said, let's take a bet about how long he's going to be in our condo before it's actually done. 1, it's hard to find land in our county. 2, our septic department is crazy. I spent a year and a half just working on the septic final for my client. And then we got out of the contract because the prices went up. So, you know, things change. Anyway, oh.
That's the clicker.
I was using this one?
Yes.
You changed it out?
Yep.
And because I messed it up? Okay, I'll keep talking. So, anyway, the more you get in, and you need to find out what your folks' needs are and what their budget is. As you find out their budget, you know, you maybe can get a house that has more changes. More changes, more money. Because when builders allow you to make changes, it comes in a lot of ways. First, there's the structural changes, and all of it's in process. I literally had a buyer who bought a house. We were in there, and we fought and fought and fought for them to get granite changed. But it was the day that builder was going to order the granite. It was like their deadline. You can't change granite after this day. We begged and begged and begged and literally fought for 8 hours to get it done. Thank you. And it was approved. We got permission to change the granite, went and picked the granite. We came in for the walkthrough. It was the original granite. They didn't get it in their system right. Good news was, it was tract homes, they were small cottages, they could go put it in another unit, they changed it. So, it turned out to not be a big deal, but it's still a big deal. You know, your buyers feel kind of disheartened when that happens. So, anyway, all kinds of things and along the way in different kinds of new construction. Okay, let me ask you guys this question. Why are some of you hesitant to sell new construction? The time frame. It takes a long time. Getting cut out of the deal. Yep. The quality of the builder. Yeah. We only have one builder that I literally would not recommend though. So it's, but here's the thing. Okay. Anything else? So quality of the builder. Not really understanding the process, right. Did y'all have another one over here? The cost. Yeah, it is. So they usually will get a little bit smaller house. The cost per square foot is usually higher on new construction. All right, let's dig into a couple of these and let me, he came in and fixed it and he didn't plug it in. We're still going to die. All right. Lots of knowledge, lack of knowledge about the process. We don't know what's going on. So that's what we want to keep up. You know, that's why you're here. We get some more knowledge. All right. And you told me you just built a house, right? And how was that? You had a hard time. And now you have more knowledge, but you're still here. So a little bit more is good. Okay. A lack of information. We just don't know what's happening in the market. And you know, when houses are selling quickly, I find too, I can be up to date on what's happening with new construction in my area. And then I'll go to look 6 months later and that subdivision is closed and the other one, there's another 2 popping up. So it's changing all the time. Unsure of the value. You know, the pricing is a little different. Is it really worth that? You know, what's happening in that community. Selling the unseen. Yeah. Guess who helps you do that? The builder's agent. They are trained to help sell the unseen, and I'm going to give you some more suggestions with that. But they're trained to do that, so let them do it. When you go into the on-site agent, just be quiet and let them talk. They're trained to sell, let them sell, and you get back and consult with your agent, with your client afterwards. So, all right, selling the unseen, the distant payment. There's the one you says, like, I'm not going to get paid for a long time. You know, and let me tell you a story about that. I've had a couple of deals where the payment went off years. You know, I mean, we're talking 4-6 months here, and that's a little bit of a ways down the line, you know, and we're going to have to wait for it. I had one deal. It was owner financing. Found a house for my client, owner financed, and in order to convince the seller that this was a good deal for them, I participated in how I got paid. I participated in the deal. So they paid me some of my commission at closing, but I said you can pay me the rest when my client does their permanent financing. So I was risking with my client out there that if they foreclosed on it, I was not going to get paid. So that money came in 3 years later, the month after my husband had back surgery. Do you think $10,000 was good at that point in time in my life? Yeah. So my point there is we need money all the time. So if it comes in later, you just trust you're going to need money then too, and maybe it'll even be a better time placement for that money. You don't know what's going to happen 6, 8, 2, months in the future or 2 years. And custom homes, hello. Yeah, 1.5 years, 2 years, right? It took a lot longer even to get paid. You what? The paycheck usually is nice for custom, yeah. So that is a little bit more worth the wait. All right. So these are some of the things. Now, I want you to have a little exercise here, and maybe I'll see if I can plug in this computer while we have this little exercise. Talk to a neighbor, get in a group of 2 or 3 people, and talk about your personal hesitancy. What's your personal concern? I want you to identify your learning point. What do you need to learn to feel better about working in new construction? And then I want you to list 3 ways you're going to educate yourself to be a better help to your clients for new construction. And I'll let you share a few of those. So do this for about 3 minutes. Talk to your neighbor or a group of 3.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like when you buy a new car compared to a 2-3 year, you may go for the 2-3 year because it has the features and less money.
Yeah.
Brand new construction may be unexpensive, but it's basic. And you have a similar house for 4 years with all the upgrades. What is more attractive for your buyer?
Sometimes they still like new. So, yeah, sometimes they do. Yeah, but I'll try and talk about that if we can. Any luck with them coming back?
No, because he said they don't know where the remotes came from. Was one of them yours?
Well, yeah, but he replaced that.
Yeah.
And, oh, hey, look, the battery's going to die in 6%, so it's just dying. It looks like it's not plugged in. And that's the projector, and I can't. And this I chased all the way around the room.
So if anybody can get in at the end, if you want to mention it to them.
Okay.
And then you can also remind them it's on the app.
Okay, right, I'll do that. Thank you. Yay, thank you. Looks better. Awesome. No, that's my clicker. That one wasn't even plugged in, so I think the last speaker must have changed it out. So,
hold on, let's make sure that this works before I leave here. Yeah, this
yeah,
is the one.
yeah, and that's the one I'm using now. Yeah,
cool.
but this was the problem, was the battery. So,
All right.
yeah, okay, awesome, thanks. All right, let's come back together. All right. Tell me, we have a hand raised right off the bat, a willing participant. Yes, ma'am.
Community development district where it's built into the taxes for 30 years, and they're thinking they're paying all this extra. You know what I'm talking about?
No. Okay, this is a Florida thing. Hi, Joe.
It's where the developer puts into the cost of the infrastructure.
Oh, is it like an impact fee? Yes. Kind of a fee they pay when they build it?
It's a community development district fee.
And how often do they have to pay it?
It's a bond.
Part of it's a bond. Part of it's a bond, which lasts for 25 to 30 years. The other side of it's a maintenance fee. The maintenance fee will never go away. The bond will eventually go away.
Okay, how much are those things a month, usually?
Well, it can be annually up to like $3,000.
Okay, so... Okay, depends on the county, but let's work with a $3,000 fee a year for this CDC thing. And even if the bond goes away, CDD. So even if the bond goes away in a few years, that is another thing. But some things share initials too, so. So the CDD, okay. Community Development District. Thank you.
One way to actually explain it pretty easily too. Right now, it seems like in my county at least, the new builders are shying away from the CDD because it's become a bad word.
Right.
Or a bad acronym. And so what they're doing, so now they're actually building in the roads and all that stuff into the price of a home. So when I'm trying to especially sell a house that has a CDD, I say, look, if you go buy new, you're going to be paying more for the same type of home because this CDD is paid for the roads. You know.
So the CDD, you're going to see that on houses that are 4, 5, 8, 10 years old too. It stays with it. Okay. All right. So this fee is something. Yeah.
And a CDD fee, even though you get it with your real estate taxes, it's not deductible. That's correct.
Oh, too bad. Well, but a lot of that's going to be changing. Florida doesn't have real estate. Y'all don't have a state tax either. High five, you guys in Tennessee. We're awesome. No state tax. Okay. And the federal tax, who's done their 2017 taxes yet? I mean, no. Who's done your 2018 tax? Who's done your 2018 tax and figured out these new things yet? Yeah, none of us. Me either. So, these things that aren't deductible, some of that's going to change because even though we still have the mortgage interest deduction, we also have that higher standard deduction. So, whereas that's a bummer, some of the things are changing and it may not be as big. It may kind of. In your county, you can deduct your CDD. Okay, let me tell you, here's my suggestion. This is great info from y'all. Thank you. If it's there, and it's there on newer houses, like Maria was asking me at the break too, she said, well gosh, what about a house that's 4 years old and they've added some upgrades to it? Oh my gosh, one of my clients' houses that sold was like 6 years old, and she's like, oh, and we've got this and this, and I said, yeah, and your dogs have scratched the heck out of your floors too. It's still a resale home, and a lot of people really they still like the brand spanking new, even though they got to put in blinds and stuff like that. So there is a tension between a 3-4-year-old house, and sometimes people just want it now, and so it's a little bit, different opportunity. But this CDD fee is something that's going to be remaining on houses for a while. It's a new thing that's instituted. So in 10 years, you're going to have, a 30-year inventory or whatever is going to have this fee. So you're in a little bit of a transition with that right now since it's been instituted. So you're going to have a script for it, and they're just going to have to add that amount of money into their payment and see if it makes sense for them. It just becomes another deciding factor for them when purchasing new construction. One of y'all mentioned the price per square foot also was more on new construction. Well, some people are like, I'm okay with that. I don't need a big house. Especially the younger buyers are, they like a little bit smaller house. They like energy efficient. So it's about presenting the item and all the parts that go with it, and does that meet what they need? It's about options and choices. Here are your options and your pros and cons with it. So we present the CDD and the pros and cons with it. The pro is it goes with new construction. If you want it, it goes with it. It's just an added fee. Our new construction has gone up because we have fees, and our county officials think that taxing the developers and the builders is the solution to our $500 million school debt. I go, anyway, so it's an ongoing thing everywhere. Counties and states are trying to figure out what it is, and that's the situation that they have in your area. So it's just part of the explanation and another bullet point that you have to talk to them about. All right. What else makes you hesitant? Because, that's a thing. You're going to have to explain it. Yeah, because that's a factor.
My biggest hesitation is being able to show value. Because it's a little harder. Once you pass them off, you try to stay involved.
Trying to show your own value.
Right.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to get into that. We're going to go into that a little bit more detail. So, yeah, it's a real thing. How am I valuable?
Because, and that sales agent is trying to prove they're valuable. So it's kind of like you work together, but you're
it feels a little competitive. But remember, one of the points you have to educate them on when you are hesitant about your value is that you are still working for them.
Right. Well, and I have been able to do things and get more financial compensation because of delays and things like that. So that's the easy one. But when it's smooth
Well, but anytime we have a really smooth transaction, I go, wow, that was easy. Wow, that was easy. I better celebrate while I can because the next one's going to take forever, So sometimes it's that way, and often they still enjoy having you with them. And a lot of these builders, they're not going to give their clients a discount because you didn't work with them, especially in a seller's market. So I am not going to encourage you to ever use the word free for your services because it's not. But some of the builders will not be giving them a discount of your commission towards their purchase anyway. That's just not going to. And I had one crazy buyer. I don't know what happened. They found me on the internet. I got, all kinds of things going on. They found me. They called me up. I wrote, how do you get new construction? Oh, I wrote a blog about new construction and I used good keywords. I got a call. That did not translate into dollars. Let me tell you what happened. They called me up. Oh, we see you've got this blog. You look like you're active in the community. We were thinking about using you for our new construction purchase. But we don't know if our company is will they use you? Will they pay you? Are they going to give us a discount? Okay, so we had this conversation and they called their company and found out that they weren't going to give them the commission back and they were fine for them to use me. But they talked to their family members and decided not to use me. And I'm like, what part of free did you miss there? Remember, don't ever use the word free, but literally they could have had me on the ground, involved, a 16-year veteran, for no cost. And they walked away, and I said, okay, I thought you guys were smart, but I'm missing something here. Yes, what's your hesitation?
I'm a builder realtor, and so this is a friend of a friend, and I was sitting down, we were over drinks the other night, and they go, well, we're not going to use you, and I go, why not? And they said, well, I got to bring a lot to the table. I'm a builder, and I can negotiate pretty well, being a builder. And they said, well, how are you talking? Like you said, it's a seller's market. So he's thinking that he can get that 3% that I would get.
Right.
He's going to negotiate that 3% less. He's already got a house in that community. And he said, I'm using that against them. And so I don't know. How do you?
I think some communities now will. It depends on the market.
Well, some communities will. Some people who push really hard, if he really is a savvy negotiator, he may be able to get the money back for himself. But let me tell you a story you might bring with you. One of my husband's really good friends, and he's friends with me too, but he's my husband's good friend, very smart, savvy person, said, I'm not going to use Monica to buy my house. And he's buying literally the same floor plan we're building at the same time in a different neighborhood. But he chose an elevation that they've never built before. And he was glad he didn't use a realtor because he got his elevation money back. He got the upgraded elevation for not using the realtor. And I didn't mind not working with him because I knew sometimes people like that can be a challenge. So sometimes I just kind of slough it off and go next. But so he's talking to my husband. Literally, my husband was advising him because of his 16 years as a realtor therapist. I'm just like, I am so not taking on their stress. That is a tough deal. Well, here's what happened. Because they hadn't built the elevation before, they built it wrong. Water got in. It had mold. And something else happened. And the lot, surely he knew this. I don't know if he knew this or not. But his lot fronts to like a 400-unit apartment complex. So you can't fix that. When they think they know best, you may not be able to elevate yourself. But you can tell them that story if you want and say, your deal may go smooth and amazing, but you've got no advocate.
That's the funniest part you said that, because he had to leave his house. His bath, I came in, all the sheetrock's down, and he said, oh yeah, they've been working on the community, Vieira, where
Shh, don't tell.
Oh, yeah, sorry. all that sheetrock's been done. It's like, you've been dealing with this for 9 months. I mean, you better get a heck of a deal. He's going to buy another unit within the community. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess you do have some negotiating power. They're pretty happy that you haven't put it out there on Facebook.
Right, and giving them a terrible review.
So.
Well, and it's an advocate. And people think things aren't going to go wrong, but when you have some real stories that you can tell them, and even for him, dude, you did this before, and here you are again. And I agree with you. Sometimes you can't fix that. When people are that adamant, you just move on and go and say, I'm saved. You know, and so I was so glad I wasn't involved in that with him because it was a nightmare.
But the anecdote, right, is I should have used him.
Well, right, exactly. They should have used.
Comes across a person, no, don't go through what I went through, call them.
Yeah. So it's gonna happen. But you did good. You presented yourself. I've got these skills. But the key word, I think, in both of the situations that y'all brought up is advocacy. But some people, 3 fingers pointing back at myself, I sold my first house for sale by owner, guilty as charged. I think I know a lot, and I'm kind of like some of these people, well informed on the researching on the internet. I do know a lot. But, you know, I finally got a financial advisor because I realized I'm not getting this and my money is not growing. You know, some people just don't think they need other professionals. And you can't, at some point you just have to go on. But being the advocate and helping them and showing your track record, that's what you can do with that. So, all right. One more area of hesitancy you guys are having. Because, I mean, these are all valid. Okay, I got 2 hands. We'll do both of you. Yes, sir.
Unfilled promises on timelines. That's, I think, what you brought up. That's really good.
Yeah, the builder.
It seems like, and I've built 3 homes myself.
Yeah.
So I've gone from where it was supposed to be 8 months and it was 19 months.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it was hurricanes. So.
Oh, yeah.
But I understand the advocacy thing too, because one I didn't have and it was terrible.
Yeah.
And the other 2 I did have, and I can assure you there was things that happened after closing, and one was a custom and one was just a track.
Yeah.
And it was amazing that's why I'm in real estate. This guy right here is
because you've learned.
This is I was his client.
Yeah.
So that's basically why I went into real estate, because of him. So, but I think unfilled promises and timelines, and we're talking like 6 months and it's 11 months. I mean, there's a huge.
But the value you provide when that happens, because like you said, it's out of your control, those timelines, the value that you provide as a buyer's agent in that is you are the one who's with them in the journey. When, not if things go wrong, but most of the time something will go wrong. When something goes wrong, you are with them. They are not alone. They have an advocate. They have someone who's experienced. And so that's, the timelines do, yeah, but it can be a hesitancy. So we need to educate them that could be a real thing. Yeah.
What could go wrong in the process?
Or the what in the process?
Yeah, in the new construction process. So we're there for them. What could go wrong?
We're there for them, so what could go wrong? Hopefully less. Hopefully less, because we're watching along the way, and I'm going to show you some of that stuff in just a minute. Yeah, Melissa.
We have areas where there's just a ton of different builders.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time figuring out which ones I should steer people towards and which ones, and how to narrow that down so they're not going to see 20 different modern homes, and I can't sit with them.
Okay, so they've got a ton of new construction, and Ray has something. Looks like it goes with that. Yes, sir.
It does. You have got to get to know the builders, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, but when you walk into the model, who you're talking to is another salesperson.
No. Okay.
You got to go there, introduce you.
No, let me show you this. Hold on a second. Okay. This is the ways you're going to educate yourself. Melissa has said a real problem. You know, there's a lot of options. How am I going to get to them all? And Ray says, yeah, you got to get to know what's going on in your community. You need to drive around like your buyers are doing. You've got to go to the communities and you've got to get to know the builders. Is this going to happen in 6 months? Where are my new agents? Less than 2 years. This is not going to happen by Christmas. Okay? This woman right here on the right, they brought her in to troubleshoot. She's such an amazing salesperson. She's given away Louis Vuitton bags at her builder open houses. Hello. So, yeah, and this woman is the luckiest woman on the planet. She wins everything. I promise you. I don't go to anything when Laura goes because she always wins. I have known her probably the whole time I've been in real estate. I just bought my 3rd unit from her. She's awesome. I know she's awesome. We're going to have a great transaction and we're going to communicate well. Those relationships, time on task over time, will help you be more prepared. You'll know about builders. You'll know when there's mergers. And, you have to just narrow them down by price range, location, all the other things that you use. And then, you pick the top 5 and 6 and then you educate them. If they're going to go look more by themselves, here's a stack of my cards. Just let them know that they're working with you. So,
But we have builders that won't accept that anymore. They have a sign on the front door if your agent doesn't walk in with you, they don't represent you.
on the first visit. Well, then those are the ones, if their house is even a possibility, that I'm going to with them on the first. You know, you just say, okay, on this day, we're going to go visit all the new construction. We're going to go together. And you just go with them. If that's the limitation in the community, then that's the way you have to do your business model. If it's a good possibility that new construction is going to satisfy their need, then that's just the way that you have to do it. Okay, I had a couple hands. I want to keep moving here quick, but oh yeah, go right ahead. Mm-hmm.
It helps me knowing a lot of the builders have commission incentives.
Commission incentives. Oh, like cruises and.
No. If you sell 2 homes, the second home is 4% instead of 3%, and then the next one is 3.5, 4.5, and then.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're different, right? But some of them, I mean, y'all could take cruises all the time, but in Tennessee we get cruise incentives. You know, that's kind of, that's not a good incentive here. Now I know, you know. And you know what? If you know who your builders are, I mean, if you're a little more detailed, you can make a spreadsheet, you know, to kind of start keeping up with this builder's building these communities. These are, there's ways. Find a system for yourself as you drive around like the buyers are doing. Get to know. Go to their open house things. So I had one of our really sweet communities. The on-site agent, he's been there for 20 years or like 15 years since they started it. He comes to my classes. My client goes in and says, "Hey, PJ, yeah, Monica's my agent." He goes, "Oh my gosh, I love Monica." Boom. Those relationships are going to open the doors for those agents. They know when Monica's involved, we're going to be a team and we're going to have a good transaction. So develop your relationship with the builder's agents, because guess what? Sometimes houses fall through and they have deals. And who do they call? Their 30 favorite agents and let them know they got a deal house on the market. Yeah, sold one of those too. Okay. Let's move on. I'm going to do some bullet points here for. Start at the beginning, exactly what we were just talking about. Register them with the builder and educating them from the beginning. Because you know your market and you know the agents, you can give some insight, and you can also say it's shifting all the time, so I'm going to need to get up to date on what's happening in that community. And then you call and get up to date. Make an appointment. The on-site agents love it when you make an appointment, because then you give them information up front. Your appointment will be shorter and they'll be prepared for you. Register them as your client. Make sure you get their name and your name on the same piece of paper. Even if it's your business card. Before you leave, their name, your name, register them. My business partner got paid on a deal with a buyer that she let go. She fired her client. Yes, some people still do that. She fired her client, but she had registered them, and the builder still paid her. Well, so then she's like, well, I feel like I need to help her now since she's buying it. So she did go to the walkthroughs, and, she did still help out. But sometimes when you register them, even if they end up not buying with you or later, you may still get paid. I know that's an outlier, but register them. Educate your buyers. And let the on-site agent do their job. Yeah, real quick.
On the registration.
Oh, yes, tell me.
Get a copy of it.
Yes.
Oh.
Sometimes things happen.
And you got your handy-dandy camera, your handy-dandy recording item with you all the time. Thanks for saying that. That hasn't been a problem in our area, so I'm glad to know. Yeah, good. Okay, Ray.
Some of the builders, you will register them, but they have time limits.
Okay.
So you have to find out what that is and go back in and re-register them again.
How long are those time limits, Ray?
30 days.
30 days? 30 to 60 days. Get out. All right. Well, okay, so if you're working on your spreadsheet with your builders, you want to have a column for who has this 30 to 60 day period and how long is it. Because I don't know about y'all's brain, but I keep packing stuff in and stuff falls out the back. So, even though you might know that, you want to remember it. All right, here's your value. Here's some of the ways you're going to do value. You're going to understand the contract. It's different than your regular contracts. Sometimes you can change it, but rarely. They do not like you to change the contract. Yes, they're builder slanted, but you have to read them mostly so you can point things out to your buyer. like I said, you may or may not be able to change it, but you need to read it so you can make sure the buyers are aware. The on-site agent will go through it, but you want to read some of the detail. Educating and you can get the contract in advance. They'll email it to you a day or two in advance. I need to kind of move, but I'll be able to hang around afterwards if anybody has any questions. So, educating buyers about the process, selections, and upgrades. All right, let me talk about selections and upgrades. You kind of got this going on right here. The two main ways you're going to provide value with selection and upgrades. I am not an interior designer. They have an interior designer in the house, and they're paid if they sell more, right? They can get incentives too if they sell more. So that's their job to try and upgrade. But I haven't found them to be so pushy, but it is their job. So I'm not an interior designer, so I don't try to give too much design input. Some of you may be and would give more insight like that. But I'm watching for A, resale items. Are they getting crazy and putting things in that aren't going to be resaleable? And 2, are they going to stay in their budget? Because they're not thinking about that. And so we want to remind them when they, kind of need to make choices there. So that's the 2 ways we can provide value there. We can do house visits, especially if they're out of town. We take a few more pictures. Can the on-site agent do that? Yes. Occasionally they do. A lot of them don't. But we can go. Walk through the mud. Walkthroughs. You should always be the eyes at the walkthrough. Always go to the walkthroughs. I mean, that's one of the best things. I love doing that. And that's where problems are going to come up. So that's where you can bring your wisdom and your advocacy. And you should do the inspection before the first walkthrough. Now, every builder has their own walkthrough setup, but before your first one, if you have 2, that's when you should have your inspection, okay? And yes, they find things. They're looking at roofs and crawl spaces, and you guys aren't doing that, which of course we don't, we're not roof experts and we don't crawl around in crawl spaces. Thank goodness. So, the inspector is worth the money. You might even have them come pre-drywall if you want. Troubleshooting. Okay, some watch points for the buyers. Floor plan. They can't see this stuff. Most of them cannot see this. And so I've even had buyers close their eyes and I'll walk them through it. But this comes with experience and reading a lot of floor plans for me to be able to see these and explain it. But you can watch for things like small closets or, other things that are going on that might be cool. Like in this particular house right here, this little family foyer, I might point out that right here is like a mudroom. What's going on right here? If the builder doesn't say that. So learn how to read the floor plan and bring out those fine points. Electrical pre-drywall. The electrician who built my house I'm in right now was fired after he did my house. Thank you very much. My husband's an artist, so we put art lights all over our house. Some of them were 2 inches from the wall. Some of them were 2 feet from the wall. Some of them were centered. Some were way over here. I mean, he did a terrible job. And so we would not have known that had we not gone in pre-drywall, looked at the wiring, looked at the plumbing, see where the return air vent is, and if it's in a bad place, can it be moved? Maybe it can, maybe it can't. But they put it in their plans and they don't question the stuff. You guys may not be able to change everything, but there are some things that need to be changed, and you bringing it to the light can hopefully help that happen earlier. So my lighting still didn't get fixed. I have way more holes in my ceiling than I should have. I mean, we told them they didn't fix things. They're so systematized. But, because I said it, I knew I'm holding it till the end. So keep going, and you may want to have an inspector there as well. That's up to your buyer and to you. And it's that way for a long time because codes are coming then to look at your...
Just a quickie. So you're saying the buyer have their own private inspector of the builder's partner?
Yes. I have not yet had a buyer who's done it at this point, but it's a good time. I mean, it's a good time to do it because that's where stuff can go wrong. And the plumbers cut joists all the time, so we need to keep going.
There are some inspectors that provide that service for new home construction inspection. They'll do it in stages throughout the process.
That's their specialty? Yeah. They'll give you a whole package. Okay. All right. I got a couple other hands. Is it okay if I keep going, or is it really okay? Okay. All right. Lot placement, drainage. My business partner, Misty, came into a situation. They'd already been talking to the builder, and She came in after they'd kind of had some conversation. The builder was okay with that. She was going to come in and work with them. Well, the first thing she noticed was that there were 2 available lots in the neighborhood they wanted to buy, and that on-site agent was pushing that buyer to get the one with the drainage ditch in the backyard. They're salespeople. That's what they do. We're consultants. So, needless to say, once Misty got involved, they got the other lot. We can help recognize, once we get experience, drainage, possible drainage problems, things at the bottom of the hill, what potential problems could happen here, just to make them aware. I was looking for my own house at this house that was even farther up the hill where I got. I was like, oh man, this is going to be one of the greatest views in Franklin sitting up here. My husband was like, I think I like the trees, and so we went with the trees. Once those houses were built at the top of the hill, there were houses everywhere. So just because we could see everyone, guess what?
Everyone can see you.
They could see me too. I'm like, I'm so glad we didn't buy up there, So that you can help talk through the whole lot thing and do the 360 view and kind of consider those things with them. All right, and some other items to inquire with. Financing, working with the builder's lender. The builder's lender sometimes is a better avenue for your client. Not always, though. Sometimes they get that incentive money back through fees. So you always want them to compare the whole package with their current lender. But sometimes you get an incentive and you still get low fees and you get a good rate. And sometimes they're awesome and it's really a benefit. So you always need to have them check the builder's lender, and sometimes they'll get a better lock with the builder's lender. So don't assume the builder's lender's, recouping their money. They may really have a better deal, but they may not. So you always want to check it. Progress reports. How's the on-site agent going to communicate with everybody? Independent inspectors, like those packages that the gentleman just said. If they'll do the whole package and you can get that for $800, that's a sweet deal. And I would suggest that. I always have inspectors on my houses come before the end. And the builder upgrade policy. What are they? Where do they get money? Okay, here's another question. At the beginning, are they paying earnest money that is a possibility to get back? Or is it a deposit that they would not get back at all? Okay? And some of that depends on where you're buying in the process. If it's a pre-sale or you're buying it already built. And the stability of the builder. And that's the thing a couple of y'all mentioned. Do they have a good reputation? How long have they been in the business? My client recently, who bought from that lady I showed you, this was a big builder that was building in East Nashville. And I said to my client, I said, you should consider this unit because this is a big builder. They've been here. They're going to be here. Lots of East Nashville where they're building these lots of ton of new construction, tearing down houses. We don't know anything about these builders. They're little builders. They pop up. Some of them don't have much experience, and some of them are not good. And we need to pay attention to that. It's those little builders that you have to watch. Some of them are better than the big builders, and some of them you want to run away from. And if you're in an area where you don't know who's good in that area, try and find another agent in your office who works there a little often who can give you some suggestions. At least when, you're narrowed down to 2 or 3, are any of these really terrible? Are they gonna, should I be worried? Okay? So you want to ask those questions so you can provide that. But remember, when you're advising them on a builder, you want to be very neutral. Don't be slanderous. The one builder, I told you, sometimes they build poor quality places. The one builder that we have, I have to say, I was so proud of my client. We walked in, they could see. I was like, yeah, this floor plan is a little strange. So, it had these weird columns, and you could see the hardwood floors were really, really cheap. And so I was able to be subtle and draw attention to a few things in the house without having to say, run. Which is what I really wanted to say. But here's the thing. Sometimes and sometimes they buy resales you don't like. Okay? So they don't always buy the house that you think is best, and we shouldn't be making decisions for other people, so we kind of got to go with it sometimes. But when they're buying something that you don't think is the best for them, or you're concerned about the quality, I would highly suggest the package, the inspector package, to come in all the processes along the way. And you could be subtle to say, yeah, I've seen a few things that make me a little bit concerned, so I'd really strongly advise you to get an inspection at every point. Because that way, you have a better chance of it being a good. Because Every builder doesn't build every house terribly. You know, I mean, there's still, and hello, resales. Those were bad new construction once upon a time, weren't they? Some of them. So it's still going to be around. You just want to be able to get it in the best product you can. Okay. We're about to wrap up, and I can stay after and talk to you guys if anybody has questions, but I know some of you have a luncheon and I need to get you out of here. And there are some more handouts out there if you didn't get one, and they want to get the reviews from you and stuff. Okay, so in closing, in your handout is a game. So if you just want to, work on that when you get home, it's about putting things in order, looking at the process yourself, and trying to identify the order of things and how the house is built. So your answers are in the handout, so you don't need to take a picture of that. But remember here to make yourself a valuable asset and let people know. Learn the market and be an active, valuable part of the process. Because don't we all want happy clients? We absolutely do. Have a great rest of the day. Go build your business. Thank you.